Hello, self. This is February 17th, 2025. Mirror work really early in the morning, probably around 4 a.m. right now. And by the fireplace, so super dark, and that's the flickering. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. This app can't even track my face right now because it's too dark, and that's okay. And a reminder for myself, this mirror work is really between me and me. I just happen to be recording it and then publishing it, making it public. So it is possibly gonna be a long video. It's not really designed for everyone else. It's just designed for me to be with me. And eventually I realize this may be very valuable to people, these inner thoughts of this billionaire, philanthropist, thought leader, key person of influence, all that silliness, right? And really it's just me practicing being with all that's coming out and all the craziness that's in there. And today it's a little slower because my brain's feels slow this morning. There's some fatigue, but I felt like, you know what, I'm gonna get up and actually start doing stuff. Got woken up with my cat at 2:59 a.m. And so it was time to feed him. And I'd woken up from a dream. I had a dream. I just finished reading Liftoff, the story of Elon Musk's SpaceX in the early days and all the failures and all the close calls and almost running out of money and still always looking forward to the next vision, to the next vision, the next vision. And I had this sense that I had been chatting with possibly Elon Musk about my ideas and my visions and creating the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and having the teams in place for that already. And I actually had the thing. And then as I woke up, I was like, I can't remember what the thing is. And then I reminded myself, instead of being like, oh, I can't believe I can't remember, it's like, have that recognition that you know it's there. Have that recognition that I know it's there. And part of it, I think, is it's my future self teasing me going, everything's here. Like I have it laid out. All of this, I'm going to say up front, is hypothetical. Let's take away all this hearsay stuff. And I'm saying that to prevent any worry about self-recrimination or people coming back to get me. And I'm recognizing that's just a little bit of an out in a way, and that's okay, all of the above. But my beloved and I were speaking last night. It's like, where do we actually want to get to? Do we want to become billionaires in this lifetime, 9-figure, 10-figure people? And I was like, yes. And it's yes, and. It's not the goal, and it is the goal. And being with that, because I can see wanting to leave a 1,000-year legacy and wanting to create financial wealth. It's okay to have that. It's just a money thing. It's just a number. Amplifies the voice, amplifies the impact, amplifies the people that we can support. And it allows us to spend money in the ways that we want to, if it's just money, right? And it's not about the getting there, and that's the piece. Because I've coached and been with people, it's like, oh, once I get to 10 million, that's gonna make the difference. It's like, no. And it's stress till you get there and you hit your own ceiling. Like I'm hitting my own ceiling right now. And I'm practicing expanding myself to allow the money to come and allowing myself to keep growing in the place that I want to in the work. And then I was sharing, it's like, I want it to be so I can just keep coming to something new. Like right now I'm looking at the technology I have and I'm super happy with it. This microphone that I got attached, this gimbal, this phone, this computer. And I've got the technology I need, the Kindle, like all the technology I need, and it's been fun opening it and trying things out. And I will remind myself of that as I keep wanting the best of things. There's something new to try out, and it takes energy and effort to be with new things. And how do I be more conscious of that? And how do I enjoy it too? Like if I opened 100 of these things every day, it'd be like, after a while, I'd be tired. Like, oh my God, more new stuff. Like I can almost see that. And it can be seen in those videos of kids opening all the toys. It's like too many toys. And now It's just being an adult in a candy store and saying too many candy store things. Like, it's like I could buy all the video games, but if I don't have time to play them, what's the point? And so that's part of what I'm learning. I'm learning the process of not just gaining wealth, but learning how to spend it well. How to spend it on things that matter, like having a couple coaches, having the courses that I want. Being able to see that and being able to see myself. Like, okay, every now and then I'm just looking at myself going, okay, there are your eyes. Yeah. Reminding myself, oh, single eyelid, double eyelid, a shift. Noticing as I imagine things are going to get more symmetric as I see myself more. I'm noticing a little bit of the tightness in my back and wondering if I walk around, especially since there's not a light here for me to be able to be in every position. And then reminding myself, what am I really doing this for? Even if I'm in the shadows for some of this, that's okay. Even if I'm in the shadows for some of this, that's okay. And that's my own reminder. I am gonna shift positions in a bit. I'm just charging the gimbal at the same time. Gonna have a drink of water and then shift. It's interesting because this is more like the candlelight mirror work that Yvonne had taught to me about way back when. And shifting positions. You can just see the essence of me right now, flickering back and forth. It's almost like being a ghost in a way as I look at myself, because the screen goes completely black, where I can see myself at times. And I'm looking at the screen black and white, FYI, because that's what I've been doing lately. Having a black screen. It's funny as I say that, I am reminded that when I first went into coaching, the first call that I had, I don't remember if it was with Jody, but I think so. And she helped me see that I live in a black and white world, like it was either one way or the other. And it was a prison to live in a black and white world. It was the prison of my own making. And then she connected me with Adam, the lawyer, who helped me see more colors in the prisons, and he could speak my language, and that was part of his gift. He could really speak the language that I had. And I'm always grateful for that. I've always been grateful for that, and I always will be grateful for that. Because it changed me going into that course. It changed the way I looked at myself. And if I was guiding someone in the future, I don't know if I would go the same path to try to go right towards coaching versus actually making the shifts to make my own life more whole. And that's the piece that I'm noticing right now. So many people go into coaching and want to go right away to saying, how do I support and serve versus how do I serve myself first? What are my values? That's it. It's looking at the values. Possibly doing the DeMartini stuff. Okay. I have a teacher who's asked me how to get into this, and it's like, oh, there's multiple different paths. There's not a right one or a wrong one. There's listening to some more podcasts. There's just learning and starting to learn in general and make time for learning. Got it. Make it a way of being versus a stressful way. Got it. Because you either want to learn and have the time and energy to learn, or it becomes a burden. And all the coaching programs, they've kind of gone sideways. There have been the places there that something wasn't adding up, using old materials, using old structures. And the pandemic really shook things up because it couldn't just be done the same way. And doing the same way and not adjusting, that's the death. So yesterday I was on a call with the Life Masters that came out of the DeMartini work, the Master Planning for Life. And it was really interesting. One of the noticings that I had for someone, and this noticing for me, is when she wanted to start sharing about theories that someone else had taught and she was trying to generalize, it wasn't powerful. It was hearing someone baby stepping their theories, but what the questions were and what was really interesting was when it was asking, what's your experience? And it was almost, what's your experience of living with expectation or stuff like that? And then when she said the I work, that was key, because she was a mother, she was a wife, she was working, she had all these different ideas. She wanted to coach, and hearing about her, and she realized it was her. Not so much that she got the disapproval from her father, but the approval from her mother was what kept her trapped in expectation, because the approval actually keeps us trapped in trying to get more approval. The disapproval is just what we don't want, which means everything else is possible. The approval limits us to what we do want, but takes away all the other possibilities. So that's a reminder for me in my fatherhood, if I keep trying to create approval, and that's the part about the sovereignty. It's such a tricky trap, because in the same way, it's like, oh, I feel like I didn't get the approval. And it's actually a gift sometimes to not get the approval, because it leaves all the possibilities. When I had the gift of the approval, I knew that with my parents, I would get approval if I did well in my gymnastics, in my piano, in my school, especially school, and science projects, and learning, and education, and participating at higher levels. It wasn't necessarily always about winning, but participating at higher levels at least. That's what I strove for. So failure wasn't something that was celebrated. Quitting wasn't celebrated. Changing wasn't celebrated. Moving wasn't celebrated. And so I didn't learn those things. And so it's a bit of noticing what is being celebrated and praised. And that's what I'm noticing. The kids these days, especially the boys for myself, and just watching around me, is they're being praised for being gentle, for not hitting, for all those. And I'm doing the same thing to myself. It's like, gentle, don't hit. You're very strong. Be careful of your strength. Some of it not bad, right? Like not kicking myself or my beloved in the head and giving us concussion. Fantastic. And also, I'm teaching him to self-modulate, and where and when. And sometimes what I really like right now is I'm open game to him, like how he hits me, like hitting my body, showing that when daddy's aware, you can hit my torso as hard as you want. And he really is, and I can feel it. And for me, it's the practice of being hit. For him, it's the practice of allowing himself to hit and use his full force and feel the impact of his movements. So yeah, using the I statements, the approval and the affirmations. I really appreciate that I can both see, if I use the comparison piece, oh, I'm ahead in this way. And then there's the wisdom piece going, I still feel just like the tiniest of children. So if you look at the law of the rhythmic scale and pull it back, we're essentially indistinguishable from each other. And it helps to have that humility, but also helps for that comparison. Can I actually acknowledge and own where I'm at and how I show up? Someone I haven't met for very long, and how I show up already is someone who has garnered a little bit more insight in these realms. And it's a practice. Like that's the same thing with this mirror work right now. It's a practice. And with the practice, that whole idea of the 10,000 hours, what will be possible? Me seeing myself, smiling at myself, talking at myself, being able to be a talker and a thinker at the same time. And I was saying that, and they were getting the mirror work. They're like, oh, recording, listen to yourself. And this may be a cheat, or maybe not me not liking hearing my own voice, but actually hearing myself in real time, seeing myself in real time. So that's the point of the mirror work. And it just so happens that I have the way to make it so that it is shareable, recordable. Just going to turn down the brightness of this and see if that pauses anything. It doesn't. That's good. All right. I'm pausing partly because I'm tired, and partly because I'm practicing, because I actually want to take today for a little bit more of the longer haul. I'm going to move positions now and be in front of the fire. And look up a little bit. So, I get to do the mirror work the way I want, which means I can actually gaze in the fire for a little bit too. I don't have to look at myself to show that I'm looking in the mirror. Okay. And as I gaze in the fire, I'm reminded of when I was looking at the fire on the Sunshine Coast when we first started doing our retreats, our men's retreats. And looking at the fire, it was after one of the ceremonies, just like watching, it was just so exquisite, and watching the flames and watching especially wood burn and realizing that this is the only time it will ever look like this. This wood is releasing its soul, essentially its energy, into light and heat. And recognizing that's what my body is doing. It's constantly a light source that's serving itself. And watching fire allows, and I've been listening to this isn't my thought yet. I'm still working on incorporating it. It really activates the pineal gland, because when you're glancing at it, you can't predict the randomness of it all. It shows different patterns in life. So the other day I was taking a really hot bath in the morning. Actually, it might have just been yesterday. And as I got out of the bath, such a difference in the wooziness. Like, it's almost like when you get out of a hot bath, it's like, the blood pressure shifts. And then I closed my eyes and I could actually see a giant bright light on the left side of my visual field, which I imagine is actually the right side of my brain. And it was almost showing the ventricle, that big area of cerebrospinal fluid, and really clear. And at one point, it went not fractally, but almost pixelated, and then so clear and so bright just on that left side, almost to highlight the right side is getting some work done right now. Highlighting the work that's being done. And part of me felt like I was on medicine. That was the day after the last breath session, because I had had some medicine serving the breath. And I felt like, wow, am I actually on medicine again now? This is fantastic. It's fantastic to be able to hit the spaces of pure perfection. And I'm grateful for that, because it keeps reminding me, it's helping me to build that muscle of wisdom that this is perfect right now, this is perfect right now, this is perfect right now. My beloved and I were talking, and last night after our son fell asleep, it's like nighttime used to be our time to really connect and chat more and dive deeper and be affectionate, and realizing that now with all that's going on and the fatigue and the wanting to read and everything else, this may not be the best time. It's like maybe it's the play dates, and how do we actually be more intentional with our time together during the play dates. That's the piece, how to be more intentional with the time. Because it's easy to forget, and I'm forgetting these days. I'm better at it. I'm raising the value of my parents, first of all, and my beloved and my family. And I'm seeing it now because they are the ones that are helping me see myself the most. And if my consciousness is all about that, then that's fantastic. They're also the second value, which is about family, or ohana. They're also the third value, which is about the business, because they're helping me to see the business. They're a fourth value too, about creating financial wealth, because really, it's all tied in. And supporting my beloved, who wants to create a more loving home, serves me. And it's remembering that over and over again. Because I forget, I get frustrated. Why are you spending so much time in the home? Why are you spending so much money on it? And it's like, how do I get out of the way there? Do my thing. Support her to do her thing. Support her to spend the money that matters right now. And that's why we have such a large buffer, is in order to actually spend the money currently, not blow it, but spend the money. And trusting that the creation of it is happening, like the clarity is happening. I was much clearer in asking for support yesterday and saying, hey, I really want you guys to go through this. And I want you to go through this from the mindset of you're going through this. That's really going to serve. And I'm talking about going through the website, the Ohana Sage, and inviting people who care and love me to actually go through it, and then letting it go. Letting go of what actually happens. And I've said yes to my 2 coaches currently, Elena and Ellie. I've got to work out some details still. And for me, it's coming up with better questions. What are the questions I actually want to ask myself? What are the questions that I'm unsure of? There's a part of me that's unsure of how to break down what it is that I actually, not what it is that I actually want, but what it is that I want to break through. There's a story that I've broken through so much already. What is there left to break through? And I know it's owning and embracing the past. Where are the current limitations in business, in finances, in relationship, in intimacy, in being seen in a prolonged container, in being with structure. That's a part of it, how to create the structure while wanting to be unstructured, how to actually be a better leader and a boss. I've always known that I will serve much better when I have a really good assistant who's helping me with doing these tasks, especially the automated ones. And I haven't gotten to the point where I've found someone who's actually both capable of that and I'm leading that, and they're excited to do the things. Or perhaps it's finding someone who's better at helping me to guide others to do the things. They don't have to do it themselves. And that's what I've gained in Matt, especially. As one of my founders, he's really good at paying and delegating. And as I tell him more of my pain points, he may be better at helping me to do that. Part of it is even just posting all these videos. Starting the Ohana Sage Instagram, starting the Ohana Sage YouTube channel, Ohana Sage, grabbing it as in many places as we can. Mirror work. Mirror work. Posting of content. Being on podcasts. It's funny and fun sometimes just to say some random stuff that's going on in the back of my head and the front of my head. I'm just kneeling right now, shifting positions, noticing the tightness, so time to walk. Time to walk even though this is completely dark. Even though this isn't tracking me the way I want. Isn't that a part of this, is to be with the blackness? To be with the blackness. It's funny imagining our fuel sources changing. Gasoline has been the thing my whole life that runs cars, and probably by the time I exit this world, whenever that is, it won't be gasoline. But that's been such a fantastic fuel source. Right, our rockets are still propelled by it. And reminding myself that, oh, I think I might have some swelling on my left big toe joint, and I'm just wondering if I'm experiencing gout-like symptoms. I say gout-like because I don't know what it actually is. I've never had gout, and gout is coming up much more commonly in everyone that I know for males, not everyone, but quite a few males. I spoke with my parents yesterday, and I'm imagining I can see the sadness that they have, the frustration, the numbness from having sons that are not as close and connected as they thought. They had a dream of this 50th anniversary of having a really big celebration and bring everyone together. And I think it is coming together. And I don't think it's coming together quite according to their visions. And they're trying to both be open and saying, hey, everything's okay. And they can't help but feel the sadness. And my reminder is I'm not responsible for their sensations or their emotions. How can I have more compassion in the way that I say things? And that is something I could have, because it's letting go of that energy. There still is an energy of hardness versus softness, an energy of probably blame. Wow, we're only this way because of you guys, right? If you guys would change, then everything would be okay. If you guys would change, we could live at home and it'd be peaceful and comfortable and easy. And it's both. One of the things my beloved and I were chatting is like, for me, what I optimize for around me is having the amazing technology ready to go with an amazing internet connection when I'm doing for example, this upcoming breakthrough experience. And so that's what matters to me. That's why I'll be doing the second bedroom, probably even if there's no furniture there, even if it's not set up at all. I'd rather do it there because I have control parameters. And for her, it's about the beauty and the aesthetics of the place. If she's got the bare minimum technology that just works, she's okay. And it helped me to clarify whenever she's trying to help me optimize for her parameters, and I'm trying to help her optimize for my parameters. That's what I'm doing as well. I try to make sure her technology is all set up, and she's trying to make sure that the comfort and the beauty are set up. And it's true, I could book out this room, pay $100, have the internet's actually pretty darn good here. I just can't guarantee that it's pretty darn good. And I can't guarantee that someone isn't going to walk in. And over there I can't either, but I'm okay being interrupted with the family too. And part of it's because I don't get the same kind of interruption that she does. My little one doesn't get in my face the same way. And he's shy, so he doesn't want to be on the screen. So, and if he is, he's super cute, so it's all good. Yeah. It's interesting as I'm doing this work, the mirror work, the coaching, the asking the questions, the planning, the master planning for life, the building of the business. All of these things are adding into my relationship with my family, my beloved especially, and having different conversations. I'm better able to switch the conversation. The other day she acknowledged me. I was like, is this a conversation we want to have? Do you want to talk to me more about this? And if you do, then we will. And she's like, no, I don't want to talk to you about this. And she's like, and thank you for letting me know you had something going on, because often I'll ask her things and I've got something in my head, but I'm not sharing it. And I'm getting better at practicing. How do I share it? And how do I bring it up? And how do I honor that she may be in a different place? And part of me doing this work, and I'm grateful now, I'm saying I don't need her to help be a sounding board for everything. I actually don't want her to be a sounding board for everything. Because there's certain parts I want us to have more love, intimacy, connection, fun, joy, play, expansion. And if she's also always for everything my confidant, my second set of eyes, my da-da-da, like that's just it. It's so much to try to give one person. And especially in the realms that it's not her thing. And then I'm grateful that we're both seeing, and I'm definitely seeing everything that's happened has just been an investment. Every place that I've lost money, so to speak, and especially in the realm of investments. Right now I've got a young man reaching out and he's lost a bunch in his investments and he's feeling really down on himself. I'm like, I can't wait to be with him more. And I invite him to do a breath. And I'm getting a little bit better at that, not just jumping in right away. And just taking a breath. Just taking another breath. Taking a third breath and realizing this is so important. I've got my tea and I've got my juice this morning. I'm going to shake up my juice first. Beet juice with carrots, with turmeric, with ginger, with apples. The beets and the carrots are from a biodynamic farm, which I'm really excited about, our dear friends Forest Bauer Farm, because biodynamic means it's not just that they're organic, but they're actually looking at how do they actually have a regenerative, sustainable farm that puts in the nutrients back into the food. And I laughed the other day as I was saying that, because I'm like, they used to just call that fucking farming, like, you know. And as we optimized for different outcomes, such as just output and perfection and feeding people so they didn't die, we got into the conventional farming. And I used to think, oh my God, I remember when I was young, I was thinking, oh, we've got to revolutionize farming around the world, like all these backwards hillbillies and backwards indigenous people don't know what they're doing, and if we only optimized it better, we could grow better and get more efficient. And what has gotten lost in the efficiencies is everyone gaming the system instead of really being with the system. And right now for me, it's noticing part of me doing this is letting go of gaming and gamifying the likes and everything else like that, and actually doing things for me, by me, the way I want to. Want to choose, I can't remember what that said. And what was I just about to say? Oh, gamifying the system. Yeah, there's so many games, and that's part of what I read, the whole thing about SpaceX. All the incumbent players who are already there, the big companies that were already in the aerospace business, they had gamified the system. So instead of building better, faster, cheaper, and continue to innovate, it was how do we entrench our position, create more of a moat, because that's the thing that people have talked about. What's your moat? What do you use to guard from everything else? And I can see more clearly now, a lot of Elon Musk's moat is, I'm gonna fucking keep out engineering, outdoing, hiring amazing people, going further, going faster. And the people that are attracted to this are the people that really want to do that, rather than complain and judge and everything else. And that's how he beat people. That's how he stayed ahead, because he's thinking ahead. And that's part of it for me. How do I keep thinking ahead? Practicing that muscle. Practicing that muscle, because it's a muscle to work. It's a muscle to strengthen. Part of it even here, and as I was doing the breath before and as I did the enemas, I always said, oh, I'm going to keep doing this and keep going. And part of it for me moving forward is sometimes I just keep doing the thing versus keep refining and doing and refining and doing. And part of my own refinement is my own enjoyment of life. Am I actually enjoying life? And as I'm reading that, he's not in the same way that I want to. And so, yeah, coming back to all the efficiencies, this world, in a way, could be so much more efficient. And it's not been incentivized that way lately. More government, more structure has actually gotten in the way. After that part of safety, government would be great if it could create enough safety to stop the random, senseless violence and killing, if that was all there previously. I don't actually know. It's the way things are portrayed. Would be great if it provided for the ability to have everyone realize that there is the right to pursue happiness in a way, the right to live, the right to bear arms in a way, right? Like that really is an important right. And we forget that. I forget that. You know, it's easy to say, oh, I can't believe we got guns down there. And in every culture, like whether it's swords or something else, it's having that. But I can see how it would be nice if we actually all had a government where it was acting in our best interests all the time. And it's such a hard thing to say. What are our best interests? Oh, going down many rabbit holes in my brain, and these are not fully formed ideas, so. And that's part of it, it's being with the non-fully formed ideas too. What I was sharing with my beloved as well is I've been doing more recording before doing things, and right now it could be a practice. So upcoming this week is I'm going to be speaking with Elena and with Marika and with Judy and with Brent and doing the unconventional breath work and doing the Ohana breath as well on comfort versus safety. And so part of this is continuing to do this mirror work to step into my own discomfort, ensuring that I'm sharing my secrets, not the secrets of others, because I've got so many secrets. I'm the keeper of secrets. And being safe doing it. And I recognize like more and more how safe I am. I feel like I am guided. And I feel like, and that's just it, crisis. Wisdom is the instantaneous recognition that crisis is a blessing. There will be crises, and they're blessings. And I have been quite good with many of them in the past. I remember my own brother's wedding and not having a wedding planner and just being able to step in. And I've done that for other people's weddings now too. And I've been a photographer, and I've been a MC, and I've been the best man. And I smile because those are part of the things. Like I remember younger going, I really want to have godchildren. I have two amazing godchildren right now. I love them so much. And I don't reach out to them as much as I probably could, and that's okay. I could probably send them some videos. I'm just realizing that. That's probably something to do. Every now and then send them a little video and say, hey, this is what's going on in our life. We love you. I love you. I think that's something I'm really good at when I remember sending little care packages, little thoughts. And right now I can send some of them into the etheric as well. So what's coming up? Well, in these calls coming up, better questions definitely for tomorrow. So today it's going to be, what are the better questions? What to optimize the breakthrough experience for me? There's a part of me that obviously wants to work directly with Dr. Demartini. And what is the best question to have there? And I'm going to think that way because there's an intelligence about me that wants to strategize. And there's a part of me that, as much as I have stepped beyond the blessing of the Father, which is fantastic, it's still there. Everything that's there is sticky. There's layers upon layers of the blessing of the Father, right? There's the fathers that I've had, my own biological fathers, the father teacher figures, whether it's Yvonne, whether it's Sky, whether it's Mr. Bewley, whether it's all those teachers all the way back to the past. Yeah. Whether it's my gymnastics coach and other people that I've been trying to impress and get their approval, right? So that's part of it as I'm thinking, how do I have better questions? I'm actually saying, how do I earn your approval? And what I'm getting better at probably working with the females is because there's less of that trying to get their approval. There's a part that I realized I already had my mom's love, but there's also a part that the feminine around me have been working at manipulating me in a way. And I say that not in a bad way. Manipulation and motivation, I think, are very close to each other, but they see me probably before me, or they see some of my potential in certain ways, and so they try to mold me in that direction. And hiring people means these are people that are self-aware enough and female who can motivate versus manipulate more. And that's probably the difference. There'll be more motivation versus manipulation. And I love that idea, manipulation and man-nipple nation. We're just seeking the nipple over and over and over again. And yeah, my little one is still in that phase. And God bless him, I don't want to change that. So better questions, and then checking in with what to do with the clients right now, what to do with the learnings, what to do with the endings of relationships and the creations and the beginnings of new ones. Every ending is an opportunity for a new beginning. And it's really inviting our past clients, my past clients, to go through this new Ohana Sage process and inviting them better and clearer and cleaner. And the more that go through, the more impact that's going to be made. The more possibility for impact. And then my talk with Brent, that's tomorrow as well. He'll be sharing about his recent experiences. I'll be sharing about this mirror work. He'll be sharing about creating this call with the XX camp that we've had before. Clear on what we're trying to do. Let's have an integration call. Let's offer value first. Let's share where we're at. Where we're at. Feel free to celebrate a little bit with each other. And keep it clear and keep it clean and keep it about yourself. Very quickly it can devolve into dialogue and more sharing and more talking. And how do we bring it back and be crystal clear and clean? Because we want to honor each other's time, and there's a number of us, and there's so many things that have happened, including for myself, and I'm going to honor you too with my time and my presence. So setting a date, important. Availability, important. Okay. And we'll see what else there is. And then Judy, sharing what's up, where things are at. Send her my new website. Check in just to clean up the old money. If it's in US, through her business or through cash, either one's okay. So just clean it up and clear it up. Clean it up and clear it up. Okay. And then what's the next thing? And then the breath work, comfort and safety. Yeah. Family is a place that for many of us is safer, at least is safer now than it was when we were children, right? We're no longer helpless, dependent, even if we still live with our parents, even if we still get financial support from them. We're not the same kind of dependent. And it's a place that's super uncomfortable for many of us. If anything, it's more uncomfortable. Not more uncomfortable, but it's one of the most uncomfortable places we can imagine spending a lot of time. And it's a place for growth if we can see it that way. And how to find the comfort and the safety. So part of it for us is the safety in having enough money. But then there's the comfort sometimes of, oh, I don't want to lose this then, right? So taking a look at that, how to create such a safe container and then create some places for explosions, implosions, and chaos. And then the breath with the unconventional. They'll have gone through a musical experience, yoga experience, hot cold plunge possibility, food, another little breath, and then be coming up to a soundscape to relax. So this breath, the intent is to be more activating, more active, but to have some softness and slowness moving into it, and it will be a little bit lighter on the Shavasana than usual. A little lighter on the Shavasana than usual because they'll be able to come back to another Shavasana. They'll be able to stay here for Shavasana as well. And so that's probably what I'll do, is I'll create it so that they can really stay there for a Shavasana. So the 10 minutes in between really is a little bit for me to clean up, and a lot for people if they need to use the wash, if they need to reset. But it'll be a reminder they can stay right there and go right into the sound bath. And for many, that's actually what I'm going to recommend. I'm going to recommend you don't come back. But if you feel like you need to and have your journals nearby, then do that. I'm reminded over and over again that there's an infinite number of ways to do things. I'm reminded right now that I've screamed out Egypt, Orion, infinity. I don't remember the last word though. Egypt, Orion, infinity. It's funny, I'll have to look that up again. But with that, Orion comes up so many different ways. What is the Orion messenger? And I haven't used it again because it was too janky for me. And then, yeah, there's so many things to try to keep up on. And then the Orion constellation, obviously. And then there's Orion Light Therapy now too. Orion, such a fun name. And then Egypt. That's why I came up, because I was seeing so many people going to Egypt, and I'm like, oh, I really want to go with Matthias and Robert sometime. I think they're doing it again. And pause. Pause up. Perhaps it's something to have in the back of my head after I create the first XX number of people, that if I ever see that come up, I can just say yes right away. That's probably a worthwhile agreement to make with my beloved. There's the train rumbling past. I turned on noise cancellation to see if that makes a difference as the train's going past. Yeah. I'm just thinking about Burning Man and other opportunities that I want to create, and reminding myself one step at a time. Focus on the thing that matters the most right now. Founding Ohana Sage, Ohana Breath continuing, the partnerships that I already have in place with Brent and with Judy. Getting the practitioners on board is going to be important too, how to bring them into the fold well. And that's something I'll talk with Marika about, because that's probably where we're shifting our conversations a little bit in the near future. And shifting as well, talking about how we're going to create the intentions together, how we're going to work better together, how she sees that. I'm going to invite her to take a look at that first and share, what does she see? In her ideal world, how would we best work together? Because in a way, I've already started that, and I'm happy to adjust it. And if I haven't adjusted already, it's part of my own blind spot. And I'm smiling because it lets me have so many more blind spots where I can remind others, I'm looking for your suggestion first, because That's how I see myself working optimally, and you can't go wrong with your suggestion. Okay. So I've looked at the week a little bit about what's already planned. What do I actually want for this week? Last week had some solo parenting, really dived into the mirror work, transitioned into the mirror work, really celebrated Valentine's Day, really had the conversations about the vision course I want to take, about the coach. So there's a lot of different movements for sure. And then had a great chat with our friend Cindy from school, and she helped rearrange our living room, which is fantastic because it's actually shifting up again. And I'll probably get her help again to shift up the other room too. Yeah, she's a force in nature every time she comes by, and cooking different food. I got to reply to Magda as well about food. Ooh, there's a little bit of warmth from this glass fire. As it's been burning for a while, but so little, it's hilarious. Safety versus comfort. Like, the safety is supposedly there, but it's a ridiculous amount of safety, I feel like. And that's it too. Sometimes it's that threat of danger. I remember them saying, like, initiatory process, there has to be a threat of death. And I can see that. And how many places in life where there's the uncomfortable feeling that I may die, but the safety that it's actually okay because I got people guiding me. That's a piece to find again. I think the indigenous cultures are really good at that, and we can only look in horror going, oh my God, how could you do that? And there was method behind the madness, and we can only see the madness because we can only see the outlier outcomes. And I think sometimes we forget that, and it's controversial to say this, but perhaps part of our suicidality rate is because we don't have enough of these spaces where people feel like there is a metaphorical death. And when we can't have metaphorical deaths and actually let go of identities, things that we've been holding on to, it gets overwhelming. So that's a piece that we were talking about yesterday, I was talking about, and I really appreciate, it's like, what are the identities I'm willing to let go of? There's so many identities. And I can't remember who said that to me. It's like, I thought you were letting go of the identity of daughter or soul daughter. It's like, oh, I didn't realize I had said that out loud. And at some point I may. Right now I feel it still serves me because it gives that instant recognition and credibility, right? That's why it's like, Dr. John Demartini, Dr. Ranjan Chatterjee, Dr. Zach Bush. Like, there's a piece there that says, I have done this already. And at some point, how to let that go and just let it be, right? I'm looking forward to doing some meditations this morning, some relaxations after this. And I'm grateful I'm doing this early because I have all the freedom. There is actually no constraint other than me, other than my own ability to be with this morning work right now. Time for another little walk. Oh. And it's good to keep shifting out the position. It's good to keep shifting where I'm at. This life. I was acknowledged yesterday because there's the piece of me that has the childlike energy, the excited, mischievous, boyish grin, the playfulness. And I am grateful when that's reflected back to me because that reminds me that I can still be strong, be serving, be worthwhile, and be playful, because I want to have both. I want to both be able to be serious and talk about deep things and be respected. But even more than that, I want to have fun and have fun with those around me and not have to show up a certain way. And that's the thing I said, the spiritual work doesn't have to be serious, it can be fun. And I'm reminding myself in this moment because there's a part of me that's getting into the seriousness with my fatigue and saying, I gotta get this right, I gotta get this mirror work right, I really want to go longer today, let's go push harder, faster, further. It's like, it's okay, just take it easy, take it slow. What's gonna come is gonna come, what's not gonna come is not gonna come. And everything's okay. And so one of the things is to honor the people that have been in my life the longest. My parents and my brother, the longest for sure, because they were all there at my birth. Ivan, David, Sophia. And then friends from childhood have known me in my youngest of years. Mark was one of them. Some of the teachers from before, Ellen and others. And then my best friend, Paul, definitely the one I've been in touch with for the most number of years as a friend, and consistently in touch with, I think, is the key. Over half my life since I was 20. Since before I was 20. And have had the most experiences with. And then after that, and I think probably has far surpassed all the friends. The only person she hasn't surpassed yet, my beloved, and my son, because there's so much constant time I have with him. So that's a reminder. Those are the ones that I've spent the most time with. Even these latest people, the founders and all the people I've worked with lately, it's been a lot less than that. And it's the building of the time, building the longitudinal relationships that matter. And so it's honoring and reaching out and acknowledging and thanking. Because sometimes I can lose sight of that and wanting to create the new as well. And yeah, so that's part of what I want to do. So just noticing when to do that. And that's part of it as well. There's so many things that I want to do. And there's things I don't want to do. I don't want to do taxes. I don't want to figure out all the structures for the savings and the investings. But that's what I actually want to have done. And that's part of it is I realized, having Matt as one of my founders, he's really good at finding someone to do the thing. And so I'm going to ask him to help me out and ask him to help me set it up. And this is how I'm going to set it up. I'm going to share with them. Okay, I'm going to set it up this way. It doesn't mean it's the right way, but I'm going to set it up this way right now. And I'm going to set up a savings account. Automatically goes to, I'm going to save a tax account. And I'm going to set up a few accounts like that. The more I can automate into these accounts, the better it is. And eventually I want people to help me with trusts and all that stuff. But for now, it's enough just to get the first layer, get into automation of not just into spending account. Just breathing right now. Feeling the tension in the body, the tightness in the shoulders. Okay, stretch it out a little bit. Tightness in the back, just rotating the hips a little bit. Oh, that's a good reminder that the body can move. The body can move. And just feeling the ribs as I go side to side. It's really funny. It just squeezes the lungs in different ways. And just hitting the solar plexus. That's where the warrior lives. For me. Not a universal thing. But just feeling the tenderness still there. Feeling the lover at the subcoccygeal area, right at the roots. Feeling the king right around the two shoulders and the heart. And the magician right around the jaw and the throat chakra, the laughter, the smiling, the mischief, the twinkle in the eye, all the talking. Oh. Noise cancellation on. That was a really fast train. At night, it's interesting when the fast train with nothing on it goes by. I'm just imagining someone zooming in there. Makes me think of Rule 1, because we were looking at all the investments into train stocks and everything else, trying to find the value investments, trying to decipher all of this data, trying to parse out what matters, and recognizing that's a useful tool. It's a useful tool. It was a good lesson in learning. And these are all the paths, side paths I could have taken, like becoming a better investor. And yeah, and it's really partnering with the people that round out what I want to do, having the structure. Working with really good people. That's going to make such a difference, working with really good people. And having the commitment moving forward. There's always that part of me that keeps thinking, oh, what if this gets really big? I gave away so much. And it's like, deep breaths, let it go. Deep breaths, let it go. Can I be with all those human emotions as well, to be with the greed that's inside of me? The wanting to have it all. The wanting to feel superior. The wanting to think that I'm bigger than, the comparison part, the competitive part. The manipulator inside. And I often joke, I'm like, oh, I'd be such a good sociopath. And the things that we say to ourselves, that I say to myself. And I'm catching that notion that when am I not saying the I and really owning this? Because this is mirror work. Why do I have to say we in mirror work? Part of it is I can hide behind the we. And it's familiar. It's familiar. There's places where it's familiar to say we. Time to stop and look at the fire again. Wow, it actually captured my face. That's kind of cool. It's trying to search for me this whole time now then. Okay. I'm figuring out about this this gimbal that I have. There's a little button on the back that once you click it, it tries to find the face and capture it. I'm like, oh, cool. And if I click it again, it takes it away. And I click it, it finds it. Cool. Again, these are little things, right? Learning about the little things and then getting excited about it. Oh, I just figured out something cool.
Okay, is my noise cancellation on? It is.
Perfect. Just want to make sure it was still there. Is my microphone working properly? Yeah. All right. Am I looking at the fire? Yes. I used to think that it was such a waste of energy to burn something, to not have windows closed, to not try to conserve all the time. That's part of what I learned from my dad. Not a bad thing, how to conserve more energy. And then learning from my beloved, how do we have more energy flowing through the house? Turn up the heat, open the windows, let's have some fun. And I'm loving that life way more now. Not that we're here to waste energy, rather that it's the movement of energy that serves more. That's what brings more life force. The stagnation actually invites death. And I can see that more clearly now. And it's almost like we're being told we need to stagnate more. I'm looking at what I want to do, which is raise my own consciousness and raise the consciousness of those around me. How many of us are not actually living our lives? And for me, I'm living my life so much more now than I ever have. And there are parts where I can see like, oh, there's this dullness, this tiredness. There's this part of me that that is self-sabotaging even, right? With the diet that I'm having right now. I'm on the diet and I've been coming off it multiple times, and I've had this opportunity to dive into it more and really go more keto, go fewer carbs, and really own that. Even when I go out, there's opportunities for that. And minimizing the amount of additives, seed oils, sugars. So I'm going to take a look at that again and ask Darin what the optimum things are. And I just finally got the herbal supplements, so I'm going to start taking those as well. And then I still haven't gotten the iodine yet. So there's all these different things to still add in. Yesterday, my son literally farted in my face on purpose. And it was stinky, and I was like, oh my God. And it was on the call with my parents. It was hilarious. It's just like, I love the mischief in him. I love that I can actually encourage it. And then yesterday, I didn't love this about myself. I got angry at my cat because he jumped over the barrier. And it's funny because it wasn't really my anger. It's a reminder I still incorporate someone else's voice, because it's my beloved who's more scared when he jumps over. For me, I'm kind of like, I'll catch him. But I did it and I was angry at him. And wasn't so much there. But later on, when I tried to keep him in, and I was just like, you're not coming out. And he jumped out anyway, ran. I was like almost furious that he didn't respect me almost. And this is good. This is good to look at. This is the story I imagine. And it isn't what my dad is thinking, but it's, I think, my interpretation of what he was thinking when I was on the other end of that. And how I'm parenting is how I learn to parent in a way. And when I forget, I may go back to that. Because there were times that he was loud, raised his voice, was a little more firm. And I imagined he was upset because he wasn't controlling things. And my experience of it yesterday was, because I tried to hold on him tightly and I squeezed him harder than I normally would. And it may have actually hurt a little bit. I don't think there was any harm. He came up to me afterwards, but he was skittish with me after that. I was trying to grab him in front of the table, trying to pull him out. And I was tired and I was frustrated. So what were the conditions that led to that? I was tired and frustrated, and I was just up there being with my man because that's what my beloved asked me to do. And I was like, all right. And I wasn't clear enough to say, okay, I'm tired. How do I do this differently? I was still trying to be mischievous with the cat instead of actually just being clear. And that's probably the things to do, is to be upfront, firm and clear and kind, as opposed to less structure. So the benefit of structure for sure for me is the more tired I am, the more structure can actually serve. When I am well rested, then me having less structure allows me to have more play and creativity and create magic. And find that place of being more well rested all the time serves me. Having periods of hormetic stress, even right now is a little bit of hormetic stress. It's like I got up, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. And I'm grateful I've done that. But normally, it's how do I actually rest well. And even right now, okay, we're at over an hour already. I'm gonna intend probably today to go to about 2 hours and then take a break and then see what else there is. And I may not get there. So this is me reminding me, don't try to get there. That's not the main goal. If this gets a little bleh, let it go bleh. Again, that reminder at my last retreat, in my highest state, I told someone just go do me every now and then to remind me to not be serious in my head all the time. And even on this mirror work, to remind myself, okay, head, I got you. You subtly creep back in and try to control the show, and part of the mirror work is to see what comes out beyond the veil that wants to be said, what arises that has been left buried. Right? Yesterday I paid for an old parking ticket. I was going to keep calling and saying, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to try to see if we can get it reduced, because I'd already paid $15 for parking, and then I still got a ticket, and I can't believe it's another $130, and I hadn't done it yet. It's been 6 months. So just pay the ticket then. If you've missed it, you've missed it. And that's part of it right now for the kind of financial structures I need to put into place. Let's just put something in place because I haven't done it yet. So let's just do it. Oh. Everything that is the way it is the way it is because I do not have the motivation to change it right now. So can I be honest with, all right, that's what it is right now. What do I want to do about that? Now what? Now what? Let's see if this can keep tracking me even in the darkness. It loses me. Cool. All right. Mirror work. Merely there, mirror work. That was a good yawn. I always remind myself and others that when you're yawning, yawn like a lion in the savannah to remind yourself that you're safe, to remind myself that I'm safe. And I can take my time and I'm letting it my whole brain to yawn. I'm just thinking again of the 20th year med school reunion. I may show up. I'm going to mention that to my beloved as one of the possibilities. And then I'm thinking right now of crossing the border soon and then traveling to Hawaii, traveling to Japan. I'm reminding her of better questions. What is actually in our control? So we don't actually have to hope for a certain outcome or wish for a certain outcome because we actually have full control over that. Right? Like right now, I have full control over whether I'm awake or I'm asleep right now. I don't have full control over $1 billion, 3.69 billion. I can want it. I can say, okay, I aspire to create that level of value. And that's the thing to come back to for myself, creating that level of value. There is a piece that is a reminder, power versus force. Can you see yourself and the value that you've created? Can you justify the value that you've created? And if you can, fantastic. And that's just another game, though. All of these are games upon games upon games. How do I want to play the game? How do I play it right now while not knowing all the answers? I don't know the answers, and I don't know the truth. And I don't really know what I've been dragging since my youth. But I push on, I philosophize, keep my prophecies by my side. And I hope to meet you at the gate, see that light shine upon your face. 'Cause I belong here, I belong with you, and all our questions belong here too. 'Cause we've been high, darling, we've been low, and all of it's helped us grow. We belong here and we deserve to dream. We deserve to dream. That might be a song for the unconventional. We deserve to dream. I think that's part of it, is how do we bring dreaming back in? How do I bring dreaming back in? And it's part of my dream last night, is it's giving me clues. And it's putting the intention into the dreams to connect with my higher future self, to see the clues more clearly so I can actually, so that they serve me. Whether I actualize it, whether there's more doing, and that's the reminder I got from my beloved yesterday. Sometimes the best doing is not doing. Right? There's so much doingness now. Part of my gift is in the not doing. there's a little bit of sadness. This is a story I have here. It's a little bit of heaviness in the back of the head, a little bit of drooping in the eyes. And I wonder if I interpret as that because that's what I see or think I see in my mom. And I imagine there's sadness. And regret is the other word that comes up. Like there are times I think, oh, I should be doing so much more already. I should have been traveling. I should have been jet setting. I should have been trying all these things. Oh, if I didn't have the inconvenience of having a child, where would I be? And it's funny because I laugh, and there's a part of me that agrees with that term, like children are inconvenient. And then I look at the book I was just reading, Elon Musk and SpaceX, and children are inconvenient, and he found a way to make it work for him. Yes, it involved divorce and changing relationships and all this stuff, having kids with different people, but he's made, in a way, children work for him. And for me, it's reminding myself it's not a trap. I have become more of myself than I ever have with a child. Like the last 4 years, I've had more development than I did in the past decade. And I forget that because I'm like, oh, all these experiences, but would I even have had those experiences? I would have been too scared. Like part of it is the fantasy. And that's the thing I've been learning from Dr. Demartini, that it's when I'm living in the fantasy of who I think I'm supposed to be, that perfect person. And they say that as well in the Queen's Code, right? It's like you're comparing your husband to the fantasy, not the perfect man, but rather the perfect woman. The perfect woman who has all these different traits. Like, oh my God, that's the whole idea. And Iris was joking about it recently about sister wives. Like, oh, you need a sister wife so that you can have someone who actually thinks and acts like you and sees like you and has that kind of compassion and that kind of insight and awareness. And I'm talking a little fast because I can see this now. It's me living in that fantasy, grass is green on the other side. That's been a big part of my theme growing up. Oh, if only I had this and things would be better. And that's part of it right now even. How can I both want the thing, but not think that just the thing itself was going to make it better? It's just when I'm in that space, things, of course, are going to be better. When I'm in the place, I think, of $1 billion, things are going to be better because I can see and I'm calling in the money to amplify the voice in the way that I want. I'm calling it in to amplify my life in the way that I want, not to let it rule my life. And these thought processes are coming out, and it's the mirroring of the people around me. Everyone who has been guided in my life has helped show me that. And then also, if I actually want that, part of it is not fearing the financial system as it is right now. It's playing the game of the financial system and getting support to play the game too. Getting support to play the game. I don't have to play the game on my own. I can play the game with people. And it's okay to play a game. I am enjoying this game of mirror work. This game of mirror work. Because it's just a game. In a way, I'm taking this seriously and not taking this seriously at times. I am both really just looking at myself, and there's probably that background ego self going, how do I draw more people in? What do I say? What's the insight, the experience to have? And then recognizing, oh my God, we're an hour and 18 minutes into this. Who is actually still going to be here? You gotta be fucking crazy. And thinking in the future when I actually do have a voice. When I actually do have a voice. Interesting how I just said that. When I actually do have a voice, right? When I've amplified my voice exponentially above where I can even imagine it being now. That's a very different way of saying it. That there may be delays that I put on this. So, there's going to be an inner circle that gets us right away, an outer circle that gets a 30-day delay, 60-day delay, 60-day delay, 90-day delay. It's like, oh, what am I investing in right now? What am I doing? What are my top trade secrets? And part of it is, oh man, yeah, we keep hearing in our world about cryptocurrency. And there's a part of me that wonders, what if AI breaks all that instantaneously and dissolves all that wealth? That would be hilarious. And that may be what Yvonne is pointing to. That singularity is going to happen at some point in time. And so it's a balance between investing in the crypto world and pulling it out and buying actual physical, tangible assets at the same time. Because, and even then, it's hilarious because I appreciate that insight from my dear friend Sean. It's like, if you're holding on to all this stuff and people know you're holding on to it, you're the one that's going to get broken into. And it's like, oh yeah. I mean, why scream and shout what you have? But it comes down to all things. Like right now, you know, when we step outside of the banks, people know that they can take you hostage and threaten you with things. Although that requires more direct confrontation than stealing. I don't know. All of these things are planning for the worst and devolving into that. And I don't know if that's in the best service. And I can understand the worry. Like, it's both, how do I actually create the safety that wants to be created too? All right. Definitely lost train of thought a little bit there. I'm an hour and 21 into this. The big part of myself is both going towards what I want and noticing when I'm not sitting where I want to be. And both being in that discomfort without wallowing in it and saying, who do I want to be? And often, I recognize, I said this out loud yesterday, it's stepping into the warrior probably. It's stepping away from the trying to modulate soft, trying to play the victim. That's probably part of it. It's playing the victim. Learning that both from my mom and my dad. Whether my dad shut down victim or my mom like, oh, woe is me, I don't have any choice, I'm kind of stuck here, victim. Right? No. And they both have such a warrior energy. They wouldn't have gotten to where they did, but probably the losses have worn on them. And my dad's work is where he throws the warrior, and then he feels so beaten down and tired. And these are all just stories. And I'm reminding myself, I'm seeing my parents from my lens versus living their life. And asking better questions will probably yield more fruit. And what are the better questions to ask? I'm noticing them for others, but I'm not noticing them as much for myself. Part of me is going to be a sharing of myself and where things are at, and then requesting support to ask better questions. That's even the beginning. Like, what are the better questions to ask that you can see for me to ask right now? Or what are my priorities? Priorities of podcasting. I want to be, whether it's Danny Morell or someone else, I look forward to being on more podcasts, and I am actively practicing with this mirror work to get clearer and clearer. What is my origin story? Medical doctor, hundreds of thousands in debt, came from a medical family, super smart, burned out, went through Apple, went through pharma, burned out, became a life coach, burned out, found plant medicine with all that accumulated background and backstory, healed from lifelong asthma. And healed makes it sound like it happened one instant. It always happens in an instant in a way. And it didn't. It was every day after that just thinking, oh, I'm not taking any medications. I'm feeling better and better and better. And then becoming a breath work facilitator, and going from follower and wanting the blessing of the Father to leading my own team, company, and founding something. And now really getting more clear on what life is all about for me, and having more fun than ever, and guiding others to do the same. And I'm happy to speak about any part of this. You let me know what you'd want to dive into. There's so many paths. The story is infinite, and my story is unique to me, and it's just my origin story, right? And there's so many parts of it, but these are the parts that people will see. I can leave the family part for later. It's more private. It doesn't have to be shared as publicly, as widely. And I've already been sharing it quite a bit, and that's okay too. Am I ready to unlearn everything? The school of unlearning. The school of unlearning. I really enjoy the school of unlearning, and it's challenging at times. And getting started on doing things that I don't really want to do. The accounting, the structure, all that stuff. Ooh. And it will come. It will come. About halfway through the battery on the phone. So I've done lower power mode. I've turned down the brightness of the screen. And I'm on airplane mode, and all of that helps. All of it helps. It's interesting. I wonder if there's a pass-through that I can do for a double USB-C, and it doesn't matter. Those are just random, strange thoughts. I didn't check the microphone to make sure it works, but I do have an input meter up there, which really helps. That'd be good to have on the native camera app as well. But this app works pretty darn well. I have it on airplane mode whenever I turn it on right now. And I'm going to delete all the videos before I actually take it off airplane mode, because I really don't want any of them to be uploaded to the servers. What else is there right now? Oh, here comes a train, so let's turn on noise cancellation. Remembering the time I got kissed by a man after ceremony, and then realizing, I was like, oh, I did not send clear signals. I did not keep my energetic containers clear and clean. And that's something I'm still working on. I'm getting better at it. Keep things clear and clean, letting things go, not trying to work more than I have to, not trying to prove as much. Having the very best of. For me, having this phone, yes. Because I'm dealing with a lot of data in this Photos app. And part of it moving forward in the nearer future is getting support to offload some of this stuff into another photo sharing platform, so to speak. But again, all of these things are for later on. Like, I look forward to when I have more tech support to guide what's going on for both backup and for multiple platforms that things can be on, so they're more easily shared. When I've got someone help me to curate the photos, curate them with my beloved so that they're stored elsewhere for most of them, and only the best of the best are on here. And curating them daily, I guess, probably. Yeah, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. Because I really don't want to keep curating. It's almost like having an editor for memories and for life. Like, the attention to detail for the memories, I find it a little bit more challenging. I guess I could get better at just deleting all the things that I don't think it is. But there's a part of me that worries about missing out on the one thing. I'm a bit of a pack rat there. I'm a bit of a pack rat there. Thank you. I'm judging myself in this moment for being a pack rat there and saying that's not the way I'm supposed to live life. There's a better way. And it's both true and not true. There is a better way, and it's imperfect so far. It's gotten me to here. And it's not what is going to get me to the next place. So let's start shifting things up even now. Let's just start deleting some of the images. It's okay to delete the junk. It's okay because I'm not going to search through them. But what about the next person on the curate? You're right. I could actually practice letting this go too and realizing it doesn't matter. Both are okay options. It's guilting and shaming myself for feeling like I'm not doing enough that's not serving. An hour and a half. Using technology when I want to. So I have all this amazing technology. I'm trying to minimize EMF and radiation, all this stuff. And I'm recognizing how can I use it to the best of my ability so I'm not using it when I don't want to be using it, whichever piece of technology it is. Whether it's using my Kindle when I'm in bed, I'm so glad I have not used my phone in bed and probably in bed with my family in a long fucking time. When I'm there on my own, things change. Ooh, what is different there? Is it just virtue signaling versus actually being okay with it? Or is it because I have now lost there's a part of me that desires to do that. It's like, oh, I can binge because I'm on my own and nobody's watching, so I can be really bad. There's probably part of that. It's like the part that wants to just play video games. Like I could just play video games, watch TV, and watch movies. And then allowing myself to do that every now and then. That's part of the learning. Like I used to only allow myself to really indulge when I was sick. And so I'd actually have to make myself sick so that I could indulge. And there'd be a lot of rest in between things. And I'd be playing games so it's so bleary, then rest, and then come up when I was okay again and play games that's so bleary. And now having child, I don't do that because I have that responsibility as an adult. And there's a part of me that loves it when I get to abdicate responsibility. The only time I can do that right now is when I'm working away in a retreat or something else like that. So how do I create that more regularly in my own life as well? Outside of that, even going for a day trip, whether it's on my own or not, and just have a whole day to do this kind of shenanigans, to record myself. Now I think I found a tool and a toy, this mirror work, that I can do when I'm on my own. And even here today, it's recognizing how could I have added a little bit of light to see myself a little bit more that actually serves me. It's not like a bad LED, but a softer, warmer glow. And today I'm really glad for just lots and lots of fire, because that's what I want. I can still see my eyes. It's interesting, yeah, because when I was working with Yvonne, we would get to do these wild zens, and I get to go on these RV trips and have these adventures. And I really did enjoy the adventures. I enjoyed shooting the shit. I enjoyed learning. I enjoyed talking. And then it was just realizing with the last one, I was like, oh, I didn't know I was going somewhere where I'd have zero reception. Oh, this is no longer the way I want to do things now that I have a son and I actually want to spend time with him at this point in time. And oh, I can have a different choice about how I want to interact with my family. And part of it could be a possibility that I'm running away. I think a bigger part is I'm running too. And that's the difference. Not what am I running away from, but what am I running towards. And that's the part where approval can be trickier if I've learned to live with going for approval. Now I'm not trying to run away from approval, but whose approval am I looking for? And even better yet, dissolving the whole idea of approval. Right? Approval is such a base form of something, like as opposed to joy lighting up. Like that's a piece of it. Like if I was doing things, then that's a natural thing. Like when a child bubbles with laughter, then you laugh back. You're like, it's not approval you're giving them, but you're giving them such a joy. Versus now it's this stern approval, and that's the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum. It's like you are at least not doing the bad thing. How to create a container without them trying to get the approval. How to have safe parameters without getting trapped, and how to do that for myself at the same time. Have safe parameters, and I've created something, right? Like don't spend over $100 without chatting, kind of thing, most of the time. $10,000 budget for the self-development until I really create the income. Diversifying different assets, revenue streams, all that stuff. Not using the phone in the car, like all these containers. How do I put in the guidelines, the guideposts that really serve without actually taking away the joy of things? I still have noise cancelling on, I think. Yeah. Train's coming again. Yeah. It's interesting having a child reflect how I'm being as both a parent and a child at the same time. I definitely don't feel like an adult a lot of the times. I don't feel like I'm adulting. And I think the learning and the lesson here is that I imagine my parents also didn't feel like they were truly adulting a lot of the times. Even right now, I see so many adults, most adults, almost all adults, as just big children. Even the ones that I've looked up to, they're big children just in different ways. Which ways are they really developing? Which ways have they not? And for myself, it's recognizing I can be infantile in certain aspects still, and that's okay. I'm getting my feet underneath me again, and that's okay. And how do I actually acknowledge and engage my fears and get supported for my fears? And let go of the shames and the guilts, because in my family, both my parents and my brother have in a way lost more money than I could have imagined, if we looked at it that way, than I've ever earned in a way. And that also means that they've earned enough to have lost that much money and still be okay. So then who's really winning and losing, right? And that's the thing I'm reminded of from Alex Hormozi. It's like the bigger the game you want to play, the more losses that there are. The bigger the losses in a way. The bigger the spends. And that's the thing. Who am I trying to engage here? We're trying to engage people where in an ideal world, not an ideal world, we're trying to engage more people who are at that level where $10,000 is actually not that much to spend on something like this. It's just making it clear what this is and the value it represents to them that they may not actually understand. How do we be clear of the impact this can make? What is the thing that's been holding you back that you'd be willing to actually say out loud that you want and get fully supported mind, body, and soul to actually achieve it? And in such a way where it transcends your ability to see the world right now and then implements that new way of being into your current life. And things will change. You are opening Pandora's box. And as I'm saying this, I don't need to say in that way to everyone. That's part of it too. It's not manipulation, it's the clarity that is needed from someone at the beginning versus the clarity that's wanted and known from someone at the end. In a safe manner. In a safe manner. And saying this over and over again to my team, first of all, helps really plant these seeds and for them to have them sprout as well. So a reminder for me and a reminder to them sometimes when I'm saying things over and over again. If you've heard something, see what is different and what is nuanced. Listen for the thing that you haven't heard before. And if you really heard it too much, then tell me and I'll stop and take a break from that and look at a different track, because there's an infinite number of things to talk about for us to keep going. Okay. And that's part of what I'm doing with myself here with this mirror work, is there's an infinite number of ways to go. I'm going to be repeating some themes over and over again because I'm exploring them and trying to find that next layer that's there. And I'm feeling a little bit of chill in my body. My body's trying to tell me, okay, we're going to be wrapping this up soon-ish. Yeah, soon-ish, this first chapter of today is complete. Soon-ish, it's time for the next layer of rest. I can think, I can wait, I can fast. I'm letting go of a lot of the insurances that typify our life. Unless it's something catastrophic, such as home insurance, or the life insurance I have right now to make sure the family's okay, or the disability insurance. The insurance on things especially, I'm letting go of a lot of. Because the insurance really is the currency of trust that I have. There's so much trust around me. There's, with our friends, getting clarity on a possible temporary loan. There is the clarity of cleaning up any money stuff. And it's funny, even opening this new bank account, there may be challenges in getting the money out. And that's okay right now. Like, it's part of our own lessons. Like, I love that we're learning these lessons. Oh, we've got a different value. We're not looking for the highest interest rate. We're looking for simplicity. So let's be clear about that. Let's be clear about that. We are owed nothing. And I owe nothing. And there's some things to clean up in this 3D world because it doesn't all play by that rule. Such an interesting idea. And an interesting idea to this whole idea of money and people being able to become billionaires and people being able to be worth nothing. And then also reading from Dr. Demartini, he met someone who was acting like a bum, but was acting like that because he had so much money. He's like, you know what, I'm just going to be this. And who knows if this person really was that versus was having delusion, was having all those things. Regardless, it plants such a seed. Like, sometimes we just want to pretend to be the person we're not for a bit just to see what it's like. And that's part of it for me moving forward will be being some of that, dressing differently and just seeing how people see me differently. Like, that's the part I recognize I'm walking around with awareness now. Before, there was a time I was walking around giving blinders going, I hope I'm not seen. I hope I'm invisible. Now I'm not trying to be invisible. I'm observing the world. And right now with the mirror work, I'm practicing observing myself. Awareness of self, awareness of my body, awareness of my mind, awareness of my soul, awareness of my breath, awareness of my neck and of my stories. Time to shift again a little bit. Oh, that train is still going through actually. So leave that on. Time for a walk again. And I'm turning off the tracking because the tracking won't work while I'm walking. Oh. Actually, it's dark, so why am I even holding this? There's no point holding this while it's this dark. I'm just gonna leave this down for a second while I walk around with the microphone on and see what's there in the mirror work of not looking into the camera, of actually being present with myself. This room had a party last night, so it smells of food still. There's still garbage here. They're still cleaning up. So it's a little distracting. It's a little different. And my beloved and I were talking because we've got a second room. I want to create it into the Zen Den, just a meditation room, purely clean, clear, clutter-free. And I recognized that was aspirational. Currently, with the home the way it is, the second room will kind of be like our catch-all room still. And I want it clear enough so that I can have one person at a time, maybe two people at a time if I really need to. Be able to set up the massage table for sure so we can actually get services done to us in the second room, especially for my beloved when we're at home. And letting go of the control of the home, because it's not as important to me what the home looks like as it is to my beloved, but I want help clearing stuff out. I'm going to clean and clear stuff out, bring all the stuff out from the closet and say, what is it that we're actually going to hold on to and keep? What is it that we're going to let go of? What is it that we need? What don't we need? What don't I need? What don't I need for sure? Right? And there's so many things I've already let go of, but what else is there to let go of? And the train's just been passing, so I'm turning. Actually, I'm walking around, so maybe I'll leave this noise cancellation on just to see. Following my highest excitement. Bashar's formula as well. I'll have to take a look at that again. That's just coming up. Bashar's formula for living. Over and over again, getting practice answering questions, practice being with myself, is creating a different connection. There are practices to learn how to channel better. There are practices to connect with all the spirit realms. Having another chat with Mark Hamilton and about business. The founding of business. Search engine optimization. The breath work. Clarity. Clarity about it all. Clarity about the web page. Not trying to do it for the approval of someone else. Getting Altaz and Sean both to go through the website and book a call. Even booking a call with me. You get to choose. You get to choose. Either way, I'd say book a call with both of us. Book a call with both of us. It's probably good practice for me too. What's going on, Nick? What's going on? Unless you're already fully a yes, then book a call with me or the other one. I'm happy to dive into it to create value as well. I'm being with my own tightness in the solar plexus, my own tiredness, my own tension. Okay. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left my mind while I was sleeping. It's funny, there have been so many friends that have come and gone, and I know they're still there, but I'm not really keeping up with them. The social aspect of my life, I've definitely let down to more my own personal social life. It's really been about my son's social life, my beloved's social life. I'm getting so much from the communities I'm already a part of, and it's part of me is sometimes like, how do I keep up? And I recognize that's just another way of searching for approval. And how do I let go of trying to keep up all the time? Where is it that I really want to be? Who do I really want to talk to and get back involved with? I think part of it is getting with that men's group on Wednesday again, doing it at least once. It's been a while. Yeah. And sharing there. Seeing each other again there. Yeah. This would be a good one. It's just before the next Fit for Service Summit. And I love me, Fit for Service, and I recognize that it's not the time. Let's send some love to Eric and Caitlin and Kyle and Aubrey and Vailana. Sending you guys love. I hope it's an amazing time. Ellie, Jason, Kate, oh my God, I can't remember all the names. Just sending you guys love and have fun with Peter Crone. Oh my God. There's gonna be so many great guests and in Malibu, and I know it's gonna serve, and I know it's also gonna be challenging. Like there's so much stuff going on there. They're recovering from the wildfires. And it's perfect. It's fucking perfect. This life is fucking perfect. There's so much technology we've figured out. There's so many ways we've thought of how to do things better, and we're just choosing not to. I'm choosing not to. I'm noticing when I'm spending time on things that I don't want to spend time on, when I'm searching and scrounging for discounts or deals, when I'm willing to pay a lot more for some things and less for others. And what was really good, I was talking to my beloved last night about, like, you know, when we give money away, actually letting go of how it's being used. And for the longest time, I wouldn't give money to the homeless because I thought, oh, they're just going to waste it anyway. I'd rather give to an organization which is much more efficient. And then now, coming full circle, not that it's right, not that I know, but my beloved always felt inclined to give money whenever possible. And so I started doing it. I realized it was nice to have that direct connection and seeing someone as a human being and just letting go of where it goes. I've been gifted so much in my life and haven't had the restrictions of how to spend it or where it goes. So how do I pass on that to someone else? And how do I not make it a bigger thing than it needs to be? It's a human interaction, is all it is, that I am bringing a little bit of money into. And then it extends onto people that we love in our life. Whenever we're giving money or loaning money or anything else like that, it's letting go of the control, being clear of the agreement, especially when it's a larger amount, if there is an agreement, and then letting go of it after that. And then as well, part of it is these organizations which are more efficient, quote unquote. How much more efficient are they? What are they looking out for? What's the energy of things going into it? And that's been a big part, is what's the energy of the practitioner? This is the part of this work right now. I can deliver what I'm delivering already really well. And I'm willing to keep diving in and saying, what other layers are there for me to uncover for me? Because the more that I uncover for me, about me, by me, through me, as me, the better I actually serve and the less I actually have to do. I enjoy reading about that map of consciousness. Like, the higher your consciousness sits, the more things are just influenced. And I think that's forgotten. And it's creating these self-perpetuating, self-replicating cycles where it just keeps going. And that's part of me this morning. Like, I'm making the impact on myself while making the impact out there, and then letting it go and letting the work percolate then in the background. And these videos are probably longer. One of the ideas that my beloved threw me is like, what if you actually record videos so that the space that it takes up digitally is actually more than all the erotica, I'll use that word for now, that you've downloaded in your lifetime. I was like, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff. And let's try. I was thinking, oh, each of these videos, so 2 hours is probably about 5 gigabytes. All right, if I do this for 20 days, it's 100 gigabytes. If I do this for 200 days, it's a terabyte. Okay, all right, we're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. Life is amazing. Today is going to be a wunderbar day. I'm a genius and I apply my wisdom. Wisdom is the instantaneous recognition that crisis is a blessing. Whatever I have done or have not done, I'm worthy of love. Ah, for my dream to live, my father's dream must die. That's something from Alex Hormozi, and he says it so clearly and forcefully. I don't know if I agree that it needs to be said that clearly and forcefully. And there's a part of it, it relates to commitment. Commitment is literally committing to something and letting all else things die. And I recognize now, looking back, most of my life I've been committed to my father's dream. Right? It was still over 29 years, so I'm still not at the halfway point. I won't be there till I'm almost 60. Then there's the in-between stage where I wasn't even sure what the dreams were. I was just pretty clear on what I didn't want it to be. And then now getting clearer and clearer on the dreams, it's letting go of the pleasing of others. And the word I used the other day, yesterday with the Life Masters, is weird. I didn't use it actually, my Lumen used it, the word weird. I was like, let's be weird. Right? When we're actually being weird, we're not confining ourselves to the paradigm of someone else. And usually it's the paradigms of some kind of regular patterning and structure. And being weird means stepping outside of it. And if we become perpetually weird, yes, that can become its own addiction, but it's going to take a while to get to that point. So swing that way and swing further and you'll swing back. It's okay. And I loved her idea as well. She's like thinking about the male version of herself and how do I show compassion and love and affection and pleasure and beauty to that version. And I'm recognizing how can we, that may be part of the whole idea of gender and everything else like that, is actually seeing myself as well as the other gender, because there's a big feminine part of me. And how do I actually fulfill the desires of that gender, that part of me? And even that's weird in a way, right? But really letting go of the blessing of anyone else that I'm trying to get, the approval, the trying to be on someone else's tract, and being so committed to my tract. And that's part of it too, that whole philosophical argument, would you rather save like 1,000 other people or save yourself? In a way, actually saving yourself, because that's the person you're clear on. Everyone else is a projected image. And it's one of those ideas, those hypotheticals that I always find silly. And I can see a little bit of it. It can serve if you're looking at it not as I've got to get the right answers so other people approve, but rather I've actually contemplated it a little bit. Right now I'm like, no, I'm scared to say it loud because will someone use this against me? I'm going to choose my family first. And it's funny, this whole idea of I got to be careful because this might be used against me. That's part of the shame and the guilt. And I still have that too. I'm guarding and protecting secrets within this layer of my own. And that's part of it, I guess, in doing this mirror work, is am I willing to actually say it out loud and then know that it could be used against me. But by knowing that it could be used against me allows me to already be different with it too. And that's the piece I've been afraid of before, is people might use this against me, versus it's all out there. And it's never all out there. Like, I'm not trying to strip and be like, this is my naked body, everyone. And there's a part of me that is doing that, because you can see the freedom. Someone who's willing to run around naked has a different kind of freedom with their body. That kind of body shaming And I really like that idea when they're talking about raising a sovereign child, where they're not stuck in a prison. When you're not stuck in a prison, no one can confine you and say, you have to follow these rules, otherwise you'll be ostracized. You're like, I'll just walk away because I can walk away. And that's where I run for myself. When if someone uses something against me, I can actually walk away from it, because the only people I actually really care about are those closest to me, and they get to see the side of me already. And even if they haven't seen every little detail, they know the essence of me. They know the essence of my trying. They know the essence of my effort, especially my beloved now. We've been talking about our values for a few weeks, and I'm really grateful for that. We haven't really linked them as much as we could yet, but I'm starting to link them in my own head, and it's saying them out loud to each other. But my beloved is already starting to link them. She can see how me taking care of myself is the number one thing for me, and how it links back to her. She can see that when I'm at my best, it really does serve, because everyone's having a better time around me as well. And I'm really grateful she supports me. She really does. I get so much more rest than she does, even when I think I've had enough. And I recognize she's doing it for herself too. She's like trying to make sure her safety is optimized. Like, if he's not rested enough, am I actually safe in the car with him? And for me right now, I'm not trying to change that, because it serves me too. It serves both of us, actually, because there's a truth to that. When I am more rested, I am more able to respond to and have faster reflexes. And it may be those milliseconds that make a difference there. There's such a wisdom, and that's part of what has me questioning her less these days, because there's a wisdom to it, even to the fears. And it's funny though, I've had that patterning growing up of, oh, silly woman, why are you thinking that? Why are you doing that? The beingness. Oh, we've passed 2 hours now. Cool. So we're about 6 a.m. if anything. Not a real lightness yet, and that's okay. I've passed the cold stage, so I don't need to settle down right away. I'm looking at the phone. It's probably around 30%. The gimbal has lots of battery, and I know the microphone has a super ton of battery, so we're still good. We're still good. We're so good. It'll be interesting adding a charging component to this phone at the same time, having a charging puck on at the same time, and seeing how that changes things. Just noticing the stories, and noticing myself planning for a future ceremony already, and how I get the technology set up. Having the camera, having it charging, having the microphone, all of these things. And it's always interesting to me how my mind goes off in these little tangents. And then just inviting it, hey, come on back. What a good yawn. I reminded myself of those lines again. I was going to see Mufasa in the theaters, but I didn't realize it's already near the end of its run, and I don't want to see something unless it's at least VIP now. I definitely don't want to go see it in the regular theater. I like my big seats. I like my fucking comfort. Do I go see the new Captain America? Maybe. I haven't seen many of those in theaters. And do I need to? No. Is it my highest priority? No. Am I willing to do it if I feel called to it? Hells yes. I watched a movie with Paul not too long ago and we had fun. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what it was. I've been really lucky to have Paul as a best friend. And I forget that he has shown me so much kindness and compassion. And I don't even know what it is. Probably, actually, I don't know what it is that had him be a friend to me. I know that for me, I wasn't used to this kind of, the word that comes up is loyalty. Like I always knew he was there for me. He was there at my 40th birthday. He always had a gift for me. Like he was always thoughtful. And that's probably something to think of, what is a gift for him. I gave him the throwing axe for his 40th birthday, which is pretty cool, ordering that special, right? I still haven't seen it yet. Or did I? I ordered it to me and I signed it and then I sent it up, I think. So I did see it. I don't fucking remember. That's an interesting sign. God, I love life. I love the axe that I have shot wood. It's funny that I didn't get to use it that much because we were going to go camping more. I love that giant camper we had. Man, we had a $100,000 truck. That was an expensive fucking truck and camper. I'm really glad we let it go because it required a lot of thinking, a lot of work, a lot of maintenance. Like it's a job on its own. And that's what I've learned. And like, what jobs do I actually want to take on? What jobs do I want to learn more about? And right now I want to stick with this technology that's serving me. And eventually, do I want to have a minivan or van that I can go off and camp in? Hell the fucking yes. That's what I want, is a minivan that I can convert into that. Like that Kia Carnival already converted. That sounds fantastic. Do I want my own kind of Range Rover that has the rooftop tent on it all the time? Yes. Man. Take Sage out anytime, take myself out anytime? Yes. 100% yes. Do I need it right now? No. Would I like it right now? Yes. So just notice all these things that I want. I want a home that has custom built everything. Custom fucking everything. And let's start dreaming it up, right? Like I want to have something that creates almost grounding wires through it, grounds it into the earth. I want cold storage in it for sure, lots of cold storage, because I'm realizing with all the juicing, man, it'd be great to have cold storage of fruits and veggies and everything else that's lasting a long time, that would actually serve, that is perpetually cold. Some deep freezes. I'd love to have a wood stove, fireplaces, good ventilation, lots of wood paneling inside, no drywall if possible on my side. Clean lines, lots of glass, super light that's actually situated for the land and for the light, not to fit in with another lot, so to speak. I would like it to be convenient enough that we're actually close to where we want to be, close to civilization, but further enough away that we have that privacy, that privacy. Rooftop balcony, oh my God, with a solarium, that can open up, that would be amazing. And having my own kind of studio room, podcast office room, definitely. Having my own kind of meditation room, meditation Zen den, could even be meditation Zen den / media room, like bringing in the cushions and the couches and all that stuff. That's okay with me. Having a really big open concept kitchen, living room area, the main living area, but really having soundproof podcasting and Zen den rooms so I could actually go somewhere and scream and shout any time of the day and know that I'm going to be okay. Having my own sauna, oh, that'd be good. Having my own sauna. Having all those tools and technology for the red light therapy, for the PMF, for all that stuff, for the light therapy. And then what else? What else is there? What else is there? Maybe it's selling that Roxiva light for now, right? And if I do, that's okay. Mm. Mm. Yeah, I'll ask. There's so many things to do and try in this lifetime. There's so many things to do and try in this lifetime, it's not even funny. There's so many things to do and try in this lifetime, it's not even funny. I don't know what happened to the gimbal, but it kind of collapsed for a second. That's okay. I'm just imagining all the things I want to do and try. How many things I bought, like the flamethrowers that I bought from Elon Musk at one point in time. I'm glad I still have one. And I look forward to selling it still too. There's so many places to unlock money. And money is just a number. It's just a number. Again, living a semi-retired life, being able to wake up like this, do this kind of recording, having the very best phone in the world, having some of the best technology in the world, and eating whenever we want to, how we want to, getting the support that we have, dealing in the currency of trust, playing while I work, being able to not budget the way that we're told that we have to do and still surviving. Not just surviving, but thriving. I feel like we're thriving right now still. Is wonderful. And it's funny how the last few years it's just been taking on the challenges and not even thinking of them. Like I'm doing much more of the probably childcare, driving, thinking than I would if my beloved was at her fullest capacity, and that's okay. Like I'm recognizing it helps me to find a different layer for myself, a different way of living. And it helps me to optimize in a different way. And how do I love this question that I had. It's a great question. What can I imagine what life would be like when everything is healed, everything is perfect, everyone is exactly the way they need to be or that we see and want to be? And part of me is like, oh man, the first thing is like, I'm scared. What if they have so much energy they don't have time to myself? And I recognize, isn't that funny that I feel like they need to be less well in order for me to have time to myself? And how do I create this regardless? I don't need to have other people not be able to be with me to have time to myself. If they were all up, my reminder is just clear. Hey, I'm going to be gone for a bit. You guys need to figure something else out. I'm happy to help you figure it out, but I am crystal clear that having a few hours to myself every day is essential to me being the very best version of myself. And if anyone complains about that, it's ridiculous. Because we've realized how well it's worked. Why is it that just because you're well now, that I should do things differently? And how can I support this process? Just like I've supported your sleep. So, having all the things in place, creating more places of trust. It's not that we need to have other people care for my son more. what I would really like is creating more places of trust that we know that we can always lean on whenever we want to, whenever he wants to, and he can guide it too. Right? He can guide it. He can ask. And he's getting better. He's showing us that he's okay on his own. He's showing us that he's okay on his own. It doesn't mean it has to be for long periods of time. If she wants to be with him all the time, she can. But getting more support so that it doesn't have to be her and I with him. And she's not getting tired out by being solo with him. And she's not getting tired about being with people that she doesn't want to be with as well. So for me, it's to back off trying to, but just planting those seeds. And that's how I work. It doesn't mean that needs to be how she works. Okay. 2 hours and 15. What else, if anything, for right now? What else, if anything, for right now? It's funny, I'm just thinking of testosterone and how many people are doing testosterone replacement therapy. And part of what I'm doing right now is how do I naturally reawaken the testosterone in my body? I know it's been running relatively low compared to what I think would serve me optimally for the last while. I don't know if it happens after a child. I don't know if it's been in my life all the time this way. But part of me is shaking things up and saying, okay, I'm willing to wake this back up. I'm willing to actually make it a priority, because with that drive, I think it wakes up the warrior. I think it wakes up the lover. I think it wakes up the king more. What it does with the magician is less relevant. Those three, the warrior, the lover, the king, I would like to be woken up more. Having this energy, having this drive, having this passion, having this fun, having the strength, having the determination, having the devotion, and not doing it exogenously just by trying to take a supplement. And that's what we're recognizing. It's like, how much money am I spending right now on all this fresh produce for juicing? Probably a lot more. And if I spent that on supplements, even things like AG1, like, Athletic Greens, it's like, yeah, that's spending even more money and probably less wholesome. So that's what I'm trying to do, is actually find more ways to make holistic nutrition part of my life. And actually enjoy the nutrition. Like, part of it is the drink with the beets and the carrots. I haven't gotten it quite right because it's a little too heavy on something, probably on the beets, not enough on the apples. I was trying to conserve some of the apples, and I like having a little bit more sweetness in it. So probably a little bit more carrot, a little bit more apple, and a little bit less beet. The beet may have been a little bit too powerful. Really interesting idea that the beets are too powerful. Yeah. Too much power. And I really appreciate that from our dear friend Kofi before, like reminding me about power. Like, he really steps into it, his zest for life. And I think I was threatened by that a little bit when I first met him. I was like, oh my God, he's a good looking guy who's smart, can cook, who can speak well. And I wanted to bow him down to my medicine. And sometimes I want to bring people in medicine spaces because I can feel my power there. And part of that for me then is to tap back into it on a regular basis. It's probably been a little bit long since I've served, and that's okay. And I am serving in the breath, and I remind myself of that because it serves me to remind myself of that. Wow, what a life. And I'm just imagining the cold shower. I'm not looking forward to that, and it's probably important to do at some point in time. Hot then cold, hot then cold, hot then cold. At least that, right? Superheat then cold. And then doing some more regular breath practices again. Just really enjoying the breath. and just playing with it, playing with the magic of this life. Check in with my dad. Dad, if you ever want to check in and let me know how the breath went, if there's any questions, always feel free to ask me. If there's a reason you're not coming back, please let me know. I would love for you to come more regularly. I'd love if this is a regular part of your practice and to see what's possible there. And if you want to commit to a certain amount of time, I think that might be wonderful for both you and I, so that I can let go, because there's a piece of me probably trying to get you to come, trying to please you as opposed to just do my thing. And the more that you come, the easier it is for me to just do my thing. And it's nice having you there. And give yourself an alias for Zoom. Please feel free to. I'm okay with that. You don't have to log in with your Zoom account. Saying these things out loud, I'm reminded, are incantations, not just affirmations, not just sayings, not just talking to myself. And I'm getting better now. As I'm doing this, I'm letting go of the you and I'm being more with me. This is just the thing that I'm doing. It's as if I'm just talking to myself and being a crazy person, being with my multiple personalities. And I love that about parts work. It's reminding us we're multiple parts, because I've thought I was crazy before. There's parts of me that totally are like in charge, parts of me that are terrified, parts of me that are laughing and mischievous. Like, there's so many different parts. And I want to let the crazy out rather than trying to suppress. There's so much energy in the pushing down and the suppression. There's such an energy in the fear, and that's the thing I'm recognizing, I'm seeing more in the feminine. Even sometimes in the feminine, it's like, I've got it together, I've got it figured out. I'm like, I can see the fear that's saying that, and it's my imagination of the fear. It doesn't mean it's there. And I haven't learned how to address that better than I already have yet. And that's what I want to practice doing. Not from what I say, and that's part of the practice right now. Right now, I'm being with myself in the speaking. And I'm probably doing that more because I've had so many unsaid words. When I was a kid, I remember dreaming of, oh, this Christmas, they're totally going to know that I want the brand new Super Nintendo 2, and I'm going to want Street Fighter, and I'm going to want this and this and this and this. And oh my God, it's totally going to show up on the Christmas tree. And they'll be so upset when it doesn't, because how would anyone know that I want in the first place? And two, I wouldn't say it out loud because I knew that they would probably, I thought I knew that they would say no. So what's the point of doing that instead of living in the fantasy? I preferred to live in the fantasy for longer that it was possible than to be with the reality or actuality, or actually confronting what if it didn't happen. And it's interesting because I can see that now. That's even happening now. How can I speak things out loud so it doesn't just live as a fantasy in the back of my head? Like, part of the fantasy I've been living with is, oh, as long as I don't reach out to Fit for Service and ask more clearly to be a volunteer for the upcoming retreat, then I can live in the fantasy that they may ask me to, and it's possible. And then I also haven't lived into the reality of talking to my beloved and getting clear. I want to get these days off, invest this much money. And that's the same thing with my conversations moving forward. And that's part of my work, probably, to plant the seeds more clearly for Egypt, for vehicle, for home, for work. Be more clear of the dreams that I have for myself and where I want to use the money. And be more clear, I don't need these to happen right away, but I'm planting the seeds so that they're there, so I'm more clear with it. Because otherwise I'm living in the fantasy that lives in the background. And I was more clear this time of what I wanted for the second room instead of the fantasy. And as I'm saying it out loud, and you're saying out loud what you want, then we're actually making it a reality versus living in the fantasy that I can see in my dreams, but I can't see when I'm awake. And I'd like to see it when I'm awake as well as when I'm in my dreams. I'd like to see it when I'm awake as well as when I'm in my dreams. That's part of the work that I'm doing right now, is help people see things when they're not just when they're dreaming, but when they're also awake. I want to live the waking dream. And the waking dream can include things that seem impossible, like eating all the things that I love eating without regret. And part of it may be transmuting my body to to be able to transmute food differently. And part of it may be creating the food possibilities differently so the foods I really want are possible in the ways that I want them. And that may be some of the work of my beloved, because she loves food so much. So if she loves food so much, then why not make it possible to have all the time in the way that she wants to have it? It doesn't mean she has to be the chef or the cook or in the restaurant or run the restaurant, but we are willing to put energy towards making that possible. And it's time for me to move around again, and I don't need to hold on the camera and see me in the darkness. Okay. I was getting a little stiff there as I was going for that last round. Ooh, such a pain on the side of my neck. Wow. This is like really tense. I look forward to seeing Joni again soon. I'll put it in her space again. We've got a massage table now. We'd love to have you out. I especially am noticing some stuff. And if we can get you out here in an easy manner, even getting someone to pick you up and drive you out here, let me know. Because that's possible. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Everything is possible. Probable? Possible. I've made impossible things possible. And I've made impossible, I'm possuming. And I've made trigger tickled. Tickled. I'm tickled. I am getting much more tickled by things these days. And I'm grateful for when I am in the full-blown trigger, because it's showing me the underlying patterns that are still there. That's what the benefit of a trigger is. I can see the underlying patterns that are already there. And I can see underlying patterns of watching someone keep saying and professing they're in victim mode. Notice even the pattern of saying that I'm in victim mode. I don't know if I belong here. That's the pattern. What's different than that? Literally anything. Literally anything. Screaming, shouting, sobbing, crying, laughing, farting. All of it is outside of it. Just making noise is outside of it. And if you can see that as a start, every now and then, you're going to start seeing things shift. Dance, jump, laugh. Smack yourself, slap yourself. It's okay. Slapping myself actually helps to wake me up. And that's what I'm trying to do, is to wake up to myself. Wake up to myself. Wake up to my aggravations. Oh, I'm so aggravated. I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed because I do that as well. Help me, help me, help me, in my own more clever ways. Everything I see is me. Everything I look up to. And I really appreciate that when I look at Lumen, I look at her background. When I send out appreciation and love for people, when I remind them to let it in. Doing some kind of martial arts or kendo or something else like that will be good for us as a family. And I'm not looking forward to more structure, so to speak. And when it arises, it will arise. All I have to do is stay out of the way, not try to control as much. It's been 2 hours and some. I've been drinking a lot of fluids. I do want to pee soon. And part of the fun, it's so fun. There's so much pleasure in a really long, good pee. So again, I'm going to remind myself, take your time. Take your time. Take it slow. Don't get in your way. Take it easy. Keep it moving. And I'm just loving this fire still. Like having a significant gas and wood fireplace and chimneys, so important, I think. So important. Just remembering the poem, The Invitation, right now, and how lucky I am to have witnessed that so many years ago. To have been a camp counselor and gotten to play like that, like as a big kid, essentially. Definitely, up to that point and for many years post, it was my favorite job. And I'm really grateful to my dear friend and former lover, Rumi, for guiding me to there. There's so many gifts that have happened. So many gifts that have happened. And thank you, Jackie, for being this amazing person in my life. And I think it's time to ask Iris, hey, I want to let you know, I'm going to write to her just to say thank you. Because I have a really awesome life now. And I don't even know if she's alive or if she's dead. And I just want to say thank you. Not just, there's probably something else there, but thank you is the resonant theme that wants to come through right now. Thank you is the resonant theme that wants to come through right now. Because it's nice saying thank you. It's so nice. Man. I wonder if this phone will just die. We'll give it just a little bit longer for today. And then I'll keep recording and see what happens. I haven't seen anything pop up yet. I am so excited by this life. I'm so grateful for this life. I'm so grateful for this work. I'm so grateful to remember who I am. Remember who you are. Have a beautiful fucking day. And ciao for now.